Hi again. So I confess, I'm a bit of a Pollyanna. Although I don't always succeed, I try to see the positive, the hidden gift, the reason to smile in almost every situation. As Pollyanna would say, I try to find reasons to be glad. Now I know what some of you are thinking. How sweet. How naive. And let's be honest, how annoying. The fact that in our society, calling someone Pollyanna is an insult shows how little we understand the strength and energy that comes from being glad and the transformative power of joy. I know from my studies of positive psychology and from studying the book of my own life that joy is one of the most practical and effective tools that one can use to survive and to thrive. Joy is a guiding principle for me, and why my daughter's name is Sophia Joy. Like Pollyanna, I learned to be glad as a means of coping with hardship. Now, I wasn't orphaned like Pollyanna. I wasn't sent away to live with a humorless old aunt who didn't want me. Nor did I ever receive someone else's old crutches for Christmas when what I really wanted was a doll. But I did have to learn how to live with losing my father to cancer when I was only 6 during my first week of first grade. I did learn how to help my mother find and roll loose change in the house in order to have enough grocery or gas money until the next paycheck. Understanding that my widowed single mom worked part-time at Walmart in addition to her full-time job to make ends meet, I learned how to secretly skip lunch and discreetly manage a growling stomach sometimes during the school day in order to save the money to buy a coveted book by Alice Walker or an album by, I can admit it, Duran Duran. In a world in which Black girls and women are so often disrespected, ridiculed, or just plain ignored, I learned to believe in my own intelligence, creativity, and significance, and to stay in touch with my joy. Before he dies, Pollyanna's father teaches her to find comfort by playing what they call the glad game. So when Pollyanna receives those old crutches instead of a doll for Christmas, she decides to find joy in the fact that she doesn't need the crutches. Rather than seeing Pollyanna's glad game as something to ridicule, I recognize within it a strategy that determined Black women have been using for generations to reshape the world for themselves and their loved ones, even if we never called it a game. I believe there are 2 kinds of joy in life, and perhaps it is not understanding the difference that causes many of us to underestimate joy and deep gladness as a source of strength and as forms of resistance against all that seeks to devalue, displace, and deny us. I think of these 2 kinds of joy as wildflower joy and homegrown joy. Wildflower joy is what many of us think of as the only kind of joy. It's the emotion that springs up during our happiest moments, making us feel for a brief time that all is right with the world. Wildflower joy comes and goes in our lives. Such a beautiful feeling, but you can't count on it to remain. Homegrown joy is the joy that we have to plant and cultivate ourselves. It can live indefinitely, but it must be consistently watered, staked, protected from frost, pruned, repotted, harvested for seeds, nurtured, and kept alive. It's the decision we make to remember what is still good when so much has been lost. It is fertilized with gratitude for what is still there to strengthen and sustain us. It's a mindset that helps us to remember that things could easily be worse, and in fact, always are worse somewhere, right now, right here, for someone today. Homegrown joy is what Black women are thinking about when we remind each other not to let some negative person or circumstance steal our joy. Homegrown joy is the only kind that is effective as an act of resistance, because even though we can let it go, no one else can actually take it. Yet it also moves us beyond resistance to, in the words of Alice Walker, starting to live in the world today as you wish everyone to live in the world to come. I believe that I have meaningful work to do in this world during the time that I am here. And I know I can't afford to be without this powerful kind of homegrown joy. There's simply not enough time for cynicism and despair.